Kia ora, David.
Kia ora.
So lovely to have you join us on our Dunedin Stories podcast series.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. You were one of our early adopters, getting in on the list early, so I'm really pleased to have you here.
Yeah, I see that.
So for our Dunedin Stories community, do you want to let them know who you are and what you do, and perhaps a little bit about the journey to getting there?
Yeah, sure. My name's David Parker. I'm a personal trainer who works with disabled people, I should say fellow disabled people. So my journey is that I was born with a hip condition called MED, multiple epiphyseal dysplasia, if anybody would like to look it up. It affects the ends of all your long bones. The growth plate at the end forms unnaturally, it doesn't form right. It caused arthritis in my hips. I had my first hip replacement when I was about 32 or 33. It was around 6 months post my wife committing suicide. She left me with a 16-year-old, a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old to raise, and I sort of fell into a bit of a black pit. After she passed, I got my hip replaced sort of almost because she passed. The doctor said, you need it now because you're trying to raise kids and keep your job, so we'll do it. They did replace it, and I realized the world didn't get better necessarily when that happened. So I got told a wee bit after that I was pre-diabetic, and that I should think about the sugar that I put into my body, which was quite true. So I joined a gym. It was almost like a kick in the teeth. I'd never been told by a doctor before, and I've been told lots of things by lots of doctors, but one thing I'd never been told is that there was something that I could do something about, and I think that's what gave me the impetus to do what I did. I joined a gym, hired myself a personal trainer, and proceeded to lose 40 kilograms about. It was really good, but along the way, just as I was starting my journey at the gym, I was getting these weird symptoms with tingly fingers. They were treating carpal tunnel, and then I went blind on the exercise bike in the gym one day, and I stayed almost blind for about 2 years. I say almost blind, but I could actually see, but I had just enough lesions on my brain. That how MS works is it attacks, it's called the myelin sheath, which is the sheath covering all your nerves, and so when your immune system attacks it, there's no cover anymore, and the electrical signal going to say to put your arm out straight gets mixed up. So while you're putting your arm out straight, you'll go like this maybe, and I do a lot of that these days. But I had this coming on. I went blind in the gym because the signal was being disrupted. I could still see, but not. I tell people about the story where I was meeting my mum in town, and we walked past each other about as far as you and I are apart, and I didn't recognise her. So that's sort of the level with which I could see. I was working as the scheduler at GoBus at the time, and I stayed doing that as long as I could. I moved to another managerial role and sort of had to give that away as well. So I needed something to do with my life. So I decided that I was going to go to Polytech and learn to be a personal trainer, which I've done, and now I help other disabled people achieve their health and fitness goals. So it's been a really fun journey.
David, that's quite some trauma that you've managed to rise above.
Yes, yeah, it is.
Over an extended amount of time.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for sharing such a special story, private story.
Thank you. Yeah.
And I gather that journey that you've gone through means that the empathy that you've got for other people that are going through whatever they're going through makes the role that you play in their lives not easier, but you're more aligned, I suppose.
Yeah. My clients that I have all love training with me, because if we have a rough day, if any of my clients have a rough day, we still work out, but we work out accordingly. So A rough day can mean you're emotionally having a charged time, and we can work with that as trainers. All trainers will be able to work with that. But when someone's having a rough day because their leg isn't working properly, then it requires a little bit more thought on how we're going to get through a session, what are we going to do that still has value. It has been a bit of a challenge in that regard, but yes, the empathy is definitely a necessary thing when you're working with people who are sick.
Yeah. So when you talk about working with people and the services that you do, what are those services, David?
So I'm an in-person personal trainer. I offer one-on-one services. I have one client who comes into the gym at the moment. I've had more one-on-one clients, but I run exercise classes. I call them either boot camp or booty camp. My guys love it when I call it booty camp. No booty camp today, guys. I'm sick. I have about 6 or 7 people in that class. They come and go as they can, but they all love coming in and working out in the class setting. I'm not going to claim to be the most proficient personal trainer in the world. I exercise people. It's not about building as much muscle as you can. It's not about anything other than keeping yourself healthy enough going into your future because you're sick. So a lot of my workout is heart health stuff and things that I do a lot of high rep and low weight exercise. It works in with my boot camp class because it's time based and people can work as hard as they want, as opposed to doing sets of 10 reps with as heavy as you can. My clients need that doing the higher rep stuff seems to help your nervous system a bit more. So so we work out sort of in a different style than a lot of other people, but it works and everybody likes it. And my in-person clients, I had one in the newspaper, the ODT. They competed in a powerlifting competition. It was just deadlift, and she walked up to the stage on her crutches. As she went down to the bar, I took the crutches and then handed them back when she'd finished. She managed to deadlift 55 kilos, and there's a photo in the paper of her big smiles, and I guess that for me is really what makes the job. I used to be the scheduler at GoBus, managing 130 staff members, making sure they all had enough work and not too much, and that the work was all covered, and that was a really stressful career. It wasn't fulfilling. I used to tell myself, well, I'm doing a public service, the buses are a public service, I am doing good in the community, and I was doing good in the community, but not in the way I really wanted. I'm a man who was blessed with quite a stringent set of moral principles, and my life now is about community. All community, and the fulfillment I get from things like seeing my client do that deadlift. That just, it makes it all worthwhile.
I think I've got the words, I'll steal them from my husband, who I think stole them from Dave Grohl, but it's tiny triumphs are what get us through.
Yes, and it is Dave Grohl.
It is Dave, isn't it? My husband likes to use it frequently.
Really?
But I think that's what you're talking about, isn't it?
Yeah, just little bits that make it worthwhile. But I've moved online. It's a career that's very fulfilling, and I love what I do, and I won't be ever doing anything else really anymore. My health is deteriorating. Multiple sclerosis is a progressive disease, and I'm seeing that now. I didn't for quite a few years, but I've only had it for 7 or 8 years, and for the first 4 or 5 I was okay, but the last couple of years have really taken it out of me. Just getting the business up and running and stress for MS is not very good, so I've been having to sort of leap into the business, but quite slowly and carefully.
And sort of embrace the digital innovation side of
delivery. I'm online now, and I'm selling. I have a website, and through my website I'm selling exercise videos and aim to sort of have that be my breadwinner, because it's something I can work little bits and have it earn me some money, and without having to be in a job 9 to 5, because it's really not what you can do once you're sick with your MS. It's just not.
And it kind of means you'll be based in Ōtepoti, Dunedin, but you can serve the world, can't you?
Yes, yeah, that's the plan. It is quite hard to convince disabled people that exercise is good for you, and I've found that a struggle locally, just attracting clients to come in and give it a try. It's not, because you can't give exercise a try for a week. You need to give it half a year, or you're not going to, you're just going to see the bad of it. You're going to see how you went to the gym and it made you feel like crap, and, and then you had to do it again in a couple of days, and after ages of doing that, you actually do feel a lot better, but there's a bit of a hazing process, I guess we could call it, it's quite hard just to get someone to say, why don't I go and give that a try? A few people have, but not enough people. So going online means A, I can hopefully reach more people, but B, hopefully I can convince more people as well, because I've got a bigger audience now.
Incredible role model for your children.
Hopefully, I like to hope so. At the moment, they're still calling me names and saying, I don't ever want to know you again, Dad, because you took my phone off me. But that's all right.
We have to bear those.
They do the dishes when you take them off, the phone off them. They do eventually. They get sick of it. So I call it inactive parenting. You don't have to raise your voice. You don't have to argue with the child. All you have to do is say, I'm taking your phone by the time I count to 5. And if I take the phone, then they will try and shout and try and get through, but you just stop. You just stop it. You just say, no more arguing. I'm going away now. You can have your phone once you've done the dishes.
Speaking from my song sheet as well.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So how is the business going? You've built a business. It's been going for a couple of years, roughly.
Yeah. I've had my website for about one of those 2 years. Locally, the business is, like I said, struggling in finding enough clients. It's probably not going to be locally something that sort of earns a living. But I have enough clients that they really love it, and I love my in-person stuff that I'm doing. It just doesn't pay my rent. But my online stuff, I've had my website for about a year, but I've only been live with my subscription service for 3 weeks now.
Right.
So it's still very early days with that. And I'm hoping that I can get some people that see value in it. And
well, good timing to be here, so we can do a bit of a shout out for your organisation.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Thank you.
So, Dunedin, that's something that we like to talk about a lot when we're at Dunedin Stories.
Yeah.
Dunedin born and bred, or not quite?
Not quite. I mean, I should probably say because I've moved here when I was 7. So it's my spiritual home. It's my place. But I was born in Roxburgh in central Otago. So it was really a couple of hours away by car, only 20 minutes in an aeroplane. I've done that.
By fruit?
Yes. My dad used to be a fruit picker, and I had my best friend. My dad worked for my best friend's father, and they just used to strip off our clothes and set us loose in the orchard, and we'd come back at lunchtime covered in cherry juice. Yeah, completely covered in cherry juice. Now we were not 10 or 15, we were 2 or 3.
Yeah.
It was that age bracket. Yeah.
Funny.
Dad wasn't sending a 15-year-old nude through the bush to eat cherries.
So Dunedin is your spiritual home, and we do like to ask some Dunedin specific questions.
Yeah, sure.
And being a family man, do you have any particular place in Dunedin that you maybe think the Dunedin community isn't aware of, or that you'd like to share that's special?
Yeah, I'm not going to say the exact place.
Okay, it is a secret then.
It is, but it's sort of not at the same time. My wife and I head towards Aramoana from Port Chalmers. All the way along that road, there's little spots that you can park, and some of them you can hop out and go for a walk, some of them you can't.
Yeah.
We go down there. We try and go down there every Sunday morning.
Oh, wow.
That's our us time. And we go down there and have coffee and just sit and look at the view and chat and talk about the week that's been and the week that's coming.
Wow.
and our lives that have been and our lives that are coming. I married a lady who has almost as colourful a background as I do. So we do a lot of heart-to-heart stuff then. And
really
it's lovely down there. There's just such nice views. You can see the ships coming up and down the channel and the hills over the other side of the harbour. It's gorgeous on a sunny day. It's beautiful.
Thank you for sharing that. That's so special. Once a week.
Once a week,
It's
we
really
try.
lovely. You carve that time out to be together.
You have to.
Yeah.
You have to, or marriage won't work. Yeah.
Thank you. What about an event that you absolutely have to have in the calendar every year?
Okay. I read about that question and I thought, well, what am I going to answer? I'm going to give you my sensible answer, but I think first I'll give you both answers.
Okay.
So my school years, because the question is, what event or such do you absolutely not miss? My school years, I do not miss them at all.
School was tough.
School was tough, yeah. I'm not a natural learner and academic man, much to my mother's chagrin because she is. My school years, but it really was designed as a joke. The one thing I don't miss every year is the midwinter carnival. My whole family go and we wander around and look at the lights and, they just make an evening of it. So that's an event that I really look forward to.
It's a very special event for Dunedin, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's lovely that the carnival, all the kids make all the wee lights.
Have the kids made the lanterns?
Yes, they've made the lanterns. They've been in the parade. My youngest Molly was in the parade through her Girl Guide group. So we have had some involvement with it as well as going to it. Yeah.
What about Dunedin's cuisine offering? So you're a man that doesn't eat a lot of sugar anymore.
Yeah.
So maybe it's not the ice cream store, but what's your go-to for something for Dunedin?
Again, I sort of organised myself two answers. The first answer's got to be the new $4 place that you can go and buy a really cheap meal at.
Down in Caversham.
Yeah, because they do really nice food, and it's also $4, and it really helps the community. I mean, you can see that all of my stuff is about community and about helping our fellow people.
Shout out to the bowling club.
But if I was going to say one that was a proper restaurant, I'd say Bacchus or Bacchus. I'm not really sure. Bacchus.
Yeah.
Not so much because of their food. They do lovely food there. I've been there once and had a lovely meal. Post-meal, I had the most delicious chocolate cocktail that I've ever had in my life. I've never had a chocolate cocktail before. That was like having dessert that will get you drunk.
Yeah.
Try the chocolate cocktail.
You're not the first person to mention Bacchus.
Really?
No, not at all. It's an institution, isn't it?
It is. It's a lovely wee restaurant.
Beautiful place.
Yeah. But also try the wee $4 place.
So Dunedin is a special place to you, obviously.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The question that people don't like or struggle with answering, if you like, is around that Dunedin legend. If you could share Ocho hot chocolate or a Spates or whatever it might be, Dunedin-esque, with a person, who would that be for you, David?
Well, if I was sharing a hot chocolate with someone, it would be my old boss, Colin. He and I got on really, really well, and he doesn't live in Dunedin anymore. He and his wife retired, and now they travel around the country in a caravan.
Nice.
I'd love to catch up with him and have a beer with him.
Was that Go Bus?
Yeah, it was. But my Dunedin legend's my mother, really. I thought long and hard about this question, and of all of the people, it's really Mum, because she helped me through. I mean, I've had a lot of pain and strife and hardship and trauma, and Mum's been there for it all. Mum married a man who had a bad gun accident in his early 20s. He shot his face off with a .303. which is a really big bore shotgun, close range. He was in the car. And he had a long battle, and it's not my story, it's not my battle. I don't want to talk too much about it, but Mum's been a stalwart for that man, and then me, and then my kids, and she's just always been the person that's there. So yeah, shout out to my mum.
Oh, shout out to David's mum.
Yeah, she's done well with her life.
Fantastic woman. Thank you so much. I think that's really important. What a lovely answer.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So David, what's cooking in the future for you? What does 2024 look like, do you think?
Well, in terms of my business, I'm hoping to acquire myself enough capital that I can pay my web designer to sort of take over the social media for me. I tick along with my social media, but I'm not growing, and I'm at the point where I'm trying to be online and need to now. And with my MS, I'm slowing down. My thinking is affected, and it's harder even to look at the computer now, let alone find my way through it. And I work with a computer exclusively. That was what I did, but now it's just getting tougher and tougher. And I'm sort of thinking I can do this as long as I've got some help. And so I'm hoping that 2024 will see me have enough capital to pay for that and pay for someone to do my filming, or somehow get someone to help me with the filming anyway. I'm filming off my phone, and it's not perfect, but it's doable.
It's authentic.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And the services that I'm offering sort of suit a less professional looking thing. I'm having three different categories of subscription, and the first category, the one I'm doing at the moment, is bed. So exercise from bed, and I don't think there's many people in the world offering that.
No.
Yeah,
no.
but
you don't even have to get out of bed.
No, if you're bedridden, if you can't get out of bed, you can still exercise. You can still lift the weight up above your head. You can still do some glute bridges. You can still do some push-ups. You can still do some crunches. You might find that actually you get back out of bed. I've seen it. I've in my training career, not my personal clients, but I work with a man, Nick Chisholm. I used to work with Nick Chisholm.
Very familiar.
Yeah, I worked with him, and he has people come in wheelchairs and walk out after training with him. So yeah, it is entirely possible. MS is kind of a different beast. Having a stroke is rehab afterwards. If you have a stroke, Nick works with mostly stroke victims. You rehab after that, but with multiple sclerosis, yeah, you're rehabbing, but you're sticking your feet in the sand and trying to slow down the MS cart that you're on, and just make your disease progress as slowly as possible. It's still going to happen. It's happened to me. It's happened to my clients. I've seen firsthand now, working with people, that is how it goes. Your MS is going to get worse, whether or not you like it. So you might as well try and like it. It's
that positive approach that you have that I just find, I don't know, so reassuring. And shout out to the Dunedin Stories community for people that do have some health challenges and capacity issues maybe. Get in touch with David.
Well, just for someone to talk with, do some exercise. But I offer a friend, I offer someone a good ear, and sometimes like I've had to cry my way home after hearing some of the things that my clients talk with me about their health. You get to, when you're working with someone who's sick, you do get to be really quite close friends with them. And like my client that did the deadlift has transitioned into a wheelchair, and that's been really tough for them. It opened a new gateway. 2024 is going to see me and all of my clients, or at least the ones that are still keen, playing wheelchair basketball through Parawhita Tāgai. So we've all made almost a team, and we go in there every Thursday. I had a boot camp class at the same time, so I said, why don't we not do boot camp on that day? We'll do 2 boot camps a week, and we'll do wheelchair basketball once a week.
Wow.
So we go and do that, and
So this is the positive, the silver lining.
Oh, it's fun.
That
It's
we were
fun.
talking about.
It's brutal, but it's fun. Yeah, I went over. Can you see the bruise there? I went over in the wheelchair. A guy was coming for the ball that I really wanted to have for my team, and so I gunned it, and he gunned it too, and it was me that tipped.
Sounds like there's a few hazards involved.
Yeah, there are a bit, but not as much as wheelchair rugby.
True.
It's called murder ball. So yeah.
Maybe instead of booty camp or boot camp, it's wheelie camp. But
wheelie camp just about now. Yeah. But again, great fun. Yeah. Really another good social activity for my people who are generally marginalised. I've noticed myself as I've got sicker and let my work go, and in between sort of getting my business really financial, I've noticed that I've been marginalised, and I'm out doing the things and stuff, and I've got quite a support network, but in terms of sort of the world, you can get pushed aside because you're not
able-bodied enough
anymore, and you're not active anymore. You're not going to your job anymore, and oftentimes you can feel it's dehumanizing. You can feel like you're not really worthwhile having around or being around because you're not contributing to society.
Well, to hell with that, because
That's right.
I have thoroughly enjoyed our session.
Well, I'm contributing to society.
You are, in a great way.
I have had to remind myself that though. Because there's a lot of that moving aside, just sort of brushing under the carpet that goes on. It's horrible to say, but you have to say it. It's true. It does. Yeah.
Fight against it, eh?
Well, yes, one of the big things with MS is the diagnosis you get. I've got relapsing remitting MS, which means that I'm treated. But I know that eventually my disease will progress and they'll tell me that I've got secondary progressive MS, which currently doesn't have any treatment funded. So essentially they drop you and they hang you out with the washing. They send you up to ISIS at that point to do sort of that rehab and keeping moving things that I do. So the big worry is that, one time when I have my MRI every year, they're going to say, hey, you've got a lot more lesions now. We've got to take you off your treatment. And at that point, then you're kind of on your own. You don't have any backing at all in terms of, physical health and medication and stuff.
It's a reality check, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
I'm kind of lost for words, of course, because I don't know what to say, but I have a feeling for you that I just know that the silver lining that you continue to find, if we can share that with the community, that will in turn help you continue to give back to the community, which is what you like to do, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So on that note, do you want to just remind them who you are and how they can find you and make contact if they do want to look at getting in touch and using your services? Yeah, sure.
Is it all right if I just mention one other thing? Because one of the things that you were going to ask me is what's coming up in 24, or are there any events coming up? And I do have an event.
Go for it.
On the 6th of April, I'm doing the next in a line of fundraising events that I do. And I will jump into the Octagon. I've got the Octagon booked for the day.
Right.
Going to be in the Octagon riding an exercycle, and I'm going to attempt to ride it for 12 hours. There's no speed requirements. I'm not making myself puff for 12 hours. I'm just sitting on a bike and riding and just riding and fundraising for MS New Zealand. I'm going to have my partner and her work colleague. They have a massage she's a massage therapist. So they're going to be there. They're going to offer $10 for 10 minutes. They're called RSM massage. A chair massage, so shoulders and neck, $10 for 10 minutes, and all of the proceeds will be donated to MS New Zealand as well. I have a little page set up, which you'll be able to find through my website, which if you just Google David Parker Training, that brings up my maps and you can see where I am physically, but also my website.
Beautiful keywords.
Yeah,
Love it.
David Parker Training, easy as, just Google it and away you'll go.
That's great.
But yeah, we're there in April the 6th of next month. Gonna just ride the bike as long as I can and see if we can raise a bit of money. It's the third fundraising event I've planned in run. So it's fun. I really like doing the fundraising stuff. Gets me out into the limelight as well, and I am a man that quite likes the limelight, really.
I couldn't tell.
Yeah, that's right. I've had to learn to be, because my business is based around telling my personal story. So I've had to get very good at it and come to like it. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you. Yeah, I'd absolutely recommend, if you are crook and you want to feel a bit better, have a go. Have a go at exercise and try it through me, because I am empathetic and I do know what it's like.
You do.
Yeah.
Intimately.
Yeah.
Thank you, David. Really lovely to meet you.
Yeah, you too. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks.